In this tutorial we're going to look at how to just move a very basic landscape into the wind analysis tool project Falcon, which is a free online tool. Here we've created a very simple sort of landscape. All we've done is put a plane with a number of segments, and then on top of that plane added a series of modifiers. So that's the polygons, and then on top of that there's a little bit of noise, a quantify mesh and an edit mesh where I've selected the polygon and just moved a selection using the soft selection tool up and down. That's created some sort of small hills and sort of valleys, which will be good to test in Project Falcon as an object. To do now to save this as an object. So we move up to export selected with the object selected, and we'll just call this wind test 1, and object is already selected there. There's a number of different file extensions you can save it as, but we want object for Project Falcon, so we'll just save that on the desktop. One thing to note is to make sure that flip Y-Z axis is unchecked. Quite often the default will be to have that checked. And now we'll just move into Project Falcon. So Project Falcon is an online tool available for free for students just from the Autodesk website. It can suffer a bit because it's obviously dealing with quite a lot of stuff to deal with in terms of wind analysis, but the default that you'll get there is a plane. We want to go to menu, and menu is quite a sort of simple setup, and this is how it's presented. What we're interested in is models, so we'll just open that up by pressing on it. Now we want to import, and let's just select wind test 1, open. Okay, so here we go, we've got a wind analysis tool working. To navigate around this, you use the left mouse button to orbit, although it can be very slow. There we go, there's our landform. If you want to zoom, you can use the middle circular button to go in, and the right button is to pan. Now this this is particle flow, which is one of the wind analysis tools. Not very good for this particular application of a landform. So we're going to go back to menu. We're going to go to appearance. Next is results display. And here we have all the different types of ways in which the wind can be presented. So that's changed back to transparent, which is a 2D plane, very similar to what you get with Vasari. Shaded is a good one, which we can select and just show, and that again shows on a 2D plane the wind moving through the landscape on that plane. But the one that I think works the best for the purposes of a landform like this is flow lines. So we'll select flow lines, and we'll just click out of there. So what you get here are flow lines moving from right to left, which looks like it could be from the west potentially. You need to be closer to that that compass there to see, but already here, without sort of doing any sort of tinkering, we can sort of see how wind will move through the landscape. You kind of have to slow it down, and maybe we'll zoom in, but as you can see here on the left, the velocity measure shows as the wind sort of winds through this landscape, it's really slowing down, and that could be a really useful thing to know in terms of your design. So let's try and get a bit closer by using the middle wheel of the mouse. Now we can play with a couple of settings here. We can go back to menu, and underneath analysis we can go to direction, which can then be seen on the compass up on the top of the screen there. So let's go with what should be a wind coming from the east. The wind direction is expressed in degrees, and you'll get the angle up there on the top right corner, along with some other statistics about the velocity and how long this simulation's been running. Again, to get out of the menu, we just click outside of the grade space. It can take some time for the simulation to get going. So faster computers may handle the data a lot quicker and easier, and you may get better results. Okay, so after a long crash, I've managed to get this back up. This is a relatively simple geometry, yet still the program struggles a bit. Here's another view. What we're going to try and do now is just show a different type of wind analysis. So we've looked at flow lines, which I think are a good one. Shaded, transparent. Grid's an interesting one. It's another 2D grid, which you can see just creates the. We might try a couple of others. Appearance, result display, point, same thing, the plane. Okay, so we've had another crash. I think I'll end this tutorial here. You can see it's got some positives, but also it's does struggle a bit.